Hello, everyone. This is Patrick Lopez, joining you from sunny Toronto today. I'm delighted to be part of the Spotlight series from the Open Networking Foundations, where we are featuring a number of vendors, and this is the second panel that we're doing around a subject that is very interesting and that is raising a lot of interest in the industry. It's about OpenRAN. And I have with me today three representatives from some of the companies that are the most advanced in that field. I have Anil Bhandari, who is Vice President of Product Management at Altiostar. Welcome, Anil.
Thank you.
I have Baicells, who is Vice President and General Manager of International Marketing at Baicells. Hello, Baicells.
Hey, Patrick. Hey, everyone.
And at last, I have Ben Lin, who is Chief Technical Officer at Sercomm. Hi, Ben.
Hi, everybody.
So thanks, all of you, for joining us tonight. And we have also, of course, Michelle and Simon from the Open Networking Foundation that are going to help us through this webinar. We're going to start, before going through a Q&A session, through a short presentation from each of the vendors so that they can introduce themselves and introduce their company. And before they introduce themselves, I'm going to actually try to introduce myself for once. The first panel wasn't very successful in that matter. So my name is Patrick Lopez. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Core Analysis. It is a boutique analyst practice that is focused at the intersection of cloud and telecom businesses. I have been in that quality and advisor to Deutsche Telekom for nearly 4 years. And 3 years ago, actually, Telefonica asked me to come and help with networks innovation. And in that mandate at Telefonica during 3 years, I ended up being fortunate to support the teams that have launched some of the world's first OpenRAN deployments, as well as the world's first edge computing deployment based on a lot of the work that is done at the Open Networking Foundation. And this is why I've been graciously invited by the ONF to help a little bit with that panel discussion tonight. So we're going to start with Anil. Anil, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I'm going to leave you the floor, and if you could introduce us a little bit to Altiostar and how Altiostar sees the market of OpenRAN, please.
Sure. Thanks, Patrick. So hi, everyone. My name is Anil Bhandari, and I'm VP of Product Management at Altiostar. As some of you may know, Altiostar is one of the leading Open VRAN vendor in the world. And Open VRAN has been fundamental to our philosophy from the time our company was founded. Today we have one of the largest commercial deployments of Open VRAN in the world, in Japan, in Rakuten Mobile. In these slides, I'll just talk about what have been some of the key motivations for us to implement Open VRAN, some of the problem statements that we saw, and then some of the unique value propositions that Open VRAN brings. And I also want to talk about the fact that Open VRAN technology is stable. It is there today, operational. So having said that, one of the things that we noticed is this paradigm shift that is happening in the industry as the networks are being evolved from 3G, 4G to 5G. So 3G, 4G were primarily voice and data centric networks. So there were only two services. But as the networks are now evolving towards 5G, the expectation is to support multiple types of applications from the same network flexibly without the need to really do any kind of truck roll. So that's the kind of flexibility that operators are expecting from the 5G networks. And at the same time, of course, there is going to be explosion in the number of devices and the bandwidth requirements. So the issue was how to meet these variety of requirements without, as I said, leading to a truck roll kind of situation in the network. So then the second issue that we also observed in the radio access network was, if you look at the traditional RAN model, typically you will find solutions which have all proprietary software. So it's a black box solution. You get proprietary software, proprietary hardware from single vendors. And this creates a vendor lock-in. It hampers competition, and also it limits innovation. And you would also observe that, in fact, for different deployment models, in this model, there is different software which is used. So for macro, there will be one kind of software. For small cells, another software. 4G versus 5G, different softwares. And all this slows out the rollout of any new services in the network. So looking at these issues, what we did is we came out with a completely new architecture, new way of doing RAN, where we disaggregated the RAN software, the baseband software, from the hardware. And by that, what we did is that the CU and DU functionalities we virtualized and containerized, and these are now instantiated on top of commercially available hardware or COTS hardware. Secondly, what we have done is that we have all these network functions talking to each other over open interfaces, like F1 interface defined by 3GPP, and between the DU and the radio, we are using ORAN front haul interface. And this has now given two flexibilities immediately. One is that now operators have the ability to buy best of the breed hardware from the market, whether it is radios or the baseband hardware. Secondly, because now the intelligence resides in the software, operators have the ability to deploy new features. And on top of that, now, given that all these baseband functions are virtualized and containerized, any applications can be supported flexibly. So all the innovation has to happen now in the software, so that increases innovation velocity as well. And finally, very importantly, with this virtualization, now operator gets all the benefits of cloud, reducing their OpEx, which is very, very important given that subscribers are not willing to pay extra for 5G services. So with the Open VRAN, operators have the benefit of reducing both their CapEx and OpEx. And the studies indicate that CapEx can be reduced as much as 40% and OpEx can be reduced as much as 30%. And finally, I just want to share with everyone that Open VRAN is there today. It is deployed. As I said earlier, Rakuten is one of the world's first large-scale Open VRAN deployment. As of today, there are more than 5,500 base stations on air, each having 3 sectors. So more than 15,000 radios are on air, and we are meeting or beating the customer experience KPIs. It's a stable network. The numbers are here for everyone to see. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Anil. We're going to get back to you in a few minutes when we do the Q&A. I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting discussions on the topic. Bei, do you want to go next and present Baicells products and solutions in the OpenRAN space?
Let me introduce Baicells and myself. So basically, Baicells, as some of you may know, that we are a 4G and 5G base station provider. So basically, we provide the end-to-end 4G and 5G solution from software to hardware, from the core network all the way into the devices. So my name is Bai Wei. I'm the general manager of the Baicells International Business and also the corporate VP. So today, our presentation for our subject for the presentation is computing is the essence for the OpenRAN. So if we go to the next slide. So basically, we reviewed a little bit about some major key milestones for the OpenRAN. So basically, in the year 2016, we have conducted the first OpenRAN proof of concept with Vodafone together with Redis software and Baicells hardware. At that time, there was a very initial concept for the OpenRAN. And same year, basically Facebook initiated the TIP projects. Clearly, OpenRAN is also another important concept for this organization. And at the year 2018, so China Mobile, AT&T, and all the other mobile operators, they started this ORAN organization in the Mobile World Congress. I think that's officially started this ORAN or OpenRAN type of activities with the mobile carriers. And now today we're at year 2020. We're talking about OpenRAN again. And our thinking, our opinion is that nowadays OpenRAN would have a much wider scope and definitely the future trend. So our thinking for the OpenRAN, if we go to the next slide, we believe that OpenRAN is about opening the ubiquitous computing resource. Why do we say that? So if we go to the next slide, we have 3 key points. So what should be called OpenRAN? So firstly, we believe that OpenRAN should be having the software and the hardware disaggregated. So basically, the hardware shall be generally open for all the software correspondingly. So that's one thing. The second point is we think that OpenRAN shall have the interoperability between the hardware and the software, and even between the different layer of the software. That means the OpenRAN shall be completely open. That means between physical layer and layer 2, layer 3, or even between MAC layer or RC layer or PDCP layer. That should be all open and could be customized or could be just selected based on the operator's needs. And the third one, again, we believe probably the most important thing is OpenRAN is also about a mindset. So when operator wanted to implement this OpenRAN, one of the important the factor would be always avoid the vendor lock. So basically, the OpenRAN vendor shall be flexible, transparent, and also open-minded to provide additional options for the operators to choose. So that would be the 3 major opinions from Baicells about the OpenRAN. So if we go to the next slide, so we can see there were 4 options for the OpenRAN. So this is a little bit technical, but here we could just focus on the key points. It's about the computing resource. So basically, if we look at the first option, this is ORAN option with the split 7-2, which is widely adopted. So Baicells, we also support this function. And we see the computing resource here is actually the open computing resource here is mostly at the DU and CU part. So at this part, we would use general purpose platform to run the third-party software, so which can stimulate the innovation and the competition in the industry. And if we look at the second option, that is the OpenRAN with the split 8. So although CBRS is a standard interface, many people they in this industry could still think this is a proprietary or very difficult to integrate. However, again, with the open-minded and the cooperative attitude, so Baicells, we actually did the CBRS interface integration with some of the software vendor in this industry, with the BBU vendor, and also with our BBU with other RU vendor. So actually, we believe that even with the split 8, we could still conduct the OpenRAN and by opening the computing resource at the BBU. And if we look at the third option, this is also specified in the ORAN standard, which called split 2 or split 6. So by doing that, we would have the base station, the radio part, have the full physical layer function, and we could choose to move or not move the MAC layer and the RC layer function to the base station. But again, here we have the open computing resource at the BBU part. So basically, we could run the full layer 2, layer 3 function, or we could run PDCP only. But again, opening the computing resource, we regard that as the OpenRAN. And the last one would be the most how to say uncommon one. So even for a fully integrated base station, if we look inside the base station, there's still a computing resource in ARM. And this is exactly what we did, or like what we did together with Redisys and Vodafone at the very beginning for the OpenRAN. So as long as the hardware can open the computing resource for the software vendor, we believe that could be the OpenRAN. Again, our point would be computing is the essence for the OpenRAN. As long as the computing resource, it is open and is generally available for the software supplier, that would be the well aligned with the OpenRAN spirit and the concept. So yeah, if we go to the next slide. So Baicells, we also think that to make the OpenRAN successful, we believe that OpenRAN is about opening strong hardware capabilities and opening rich hardware portfolios. So if we go to the next slide, then we can see this is the portfolio of Baicells product. So basically, we have the BBU or DU for 5G. For indoor and outdoor, we have the FPGA acceleration card. Basically, we have the acceleration card for front hall for FEC, or we have the all-in-one acceleration card for everything. And we have the radios, which can support 4G plus 5G. We have a super wideband PA and software-defined radio to even to support a neutral hosted OpenRAN architecture. And we also have the outdoor high-power base station, indoor base station, relay base station, and all the different type of hardwares. With all this rich hardware portfolio opened up for this OpenRAN industry, we believe that can bring a much bigger successful for the OpenRAN, as the operator would always have the different application scenarios and have a different demand from the customer side. So if we go to the next slides, and that comes to basically our conclusion that OpenRAN is about to come. So basically, this page shows Baicells OpenRAN compatible site as China Mobile. So I think similar as what Anil has presented, we also have some OpenRAN compatible sites deployed. We have over 2,000 sites deployed with China Mobile already there. And this is, again, also commercial sites deployed in China Mobile network, and running on the city center and also in the urban areas. So these are some just the pictures from the site. So lastly, if we go to the last page, we think that there will be 3 key factors to make OpenRAN a success. So basically, well, we're talking about OpenRAN for years, and we see already some success, but definitely, I think everyone in this room, we would hoping that OpenRAN could achieve a much bigger success. So what will be the key factors? From our point of view, our understanding is, so first of all, hardware will be super important, because the hardware industry is much less flexible compared to the software industry. So we would need the hardware industry to be very cooperative to opening the computing resource, and also provide sufficient portfolio to enable the OpenRAN commercial deployment. This is similar like what we did for the computer industry, what we did for the smartphone industry with this Android OS. We believe that for the telecom industry, we would need a various hardware platform to run the very strong software on it. But the first step would be hardware vendors should be opening the computing resource to the industry, which Baicells, we are ready to do that. And secondly, we think the second key factor will be the integration. So we've done so many trials and testings. I believe, Patrick, you also have the very rich experience of doing such projects. we see that the integration would be for the product level, not for the project level. That means Baicells' opinion is when we have the OpenRAN, we will have several pieces of the OpenRAN, and we will definitely hope that the product, one of the product segment supplier could make the integration to make a product management. The last thing is about the total cost of ownership. Definitely, we would use OpenRAN to bring the TCO down. So that's basically summarize our presentation. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you very much, Baiwei. Ben Lin, at last, you can go ahead and present Sercomm.
Okay, so my name is Ben Lin. I'm the CTO of Sercomm. And Sercomm is the telecommunication company headquartered in Taipei, Taiwan. We also have a very strong operation in the United States. Today, my topic is the opportunity of CBRS network hosted by Aether. As the Anil and the Baiwei already talked about the benefit of the OpenRAN, I would like to discuss about the real implementation of the OpenRAN. So Aether is the ONF, so-called enterprise 5G LTE edge cloud as a service. And it provides the mobile connectivity and the edge cloud service for our distributed enterprise network. And the Aether is also provisioned and managed from a centralized cloud. Aether is also ORAN architecture consistent and designed for easy to deploy, highly scalable, and for rapid new service onboarding. So, so Aether already been in the operational since the beginning of this year. So this is the architecture of the Aether. Actually, it is the there's the edge mobile edge cloud deployed on premises of the enterprise, and the enterprise is also, if the enterprise has a lot of branches around the US, it can also be controlled and managed by the central cloud. And you can see that the as the Aether is provides the mobile connectivity, actually it needs to have a small cell and all kinds of the devices within the enterprise. So Sercomm provides the small cell, and Sercomm also provides the all kinds of adapter to allow like the surveillance camera that can connect to this the Sercomm video adapter to provide the CBRS connectivity, and also to Sercomm also have the USB CBRS USB dongle that can be plugged into the notebook PC to allow the traditional notebook PC to have the CBRS connectivity. So with the CBRS small cell and the CBRS devices, it can be it can form a CBRS network for the enterprise, and with the Aether at the edge, it can provide the end-to-end solution for the enterprise, or for the to form a so-called smart building, or for the a factory, for a smart factory, and the smart city, etc. So Aether and the CBRS actually are a perfect match for the private network and or for the neutral host. This is the some devices that Sercomm has been providing to the ONF to test with the Aether project. You can see there's the CBRS small cell that's connected to the Aether directly, This CBRS, it can be a standalone small cell, like what we are providing to the ONF is a standalone small cell connected to the Ether EPC directly. It can also be just a DU, split option 2 DU, and Edge also Ether also has the CRAN component within the Edge cloud, and we are also working with the Altiostar with Altiostar the VCU. Actually, the CBRS DU is talking to the Altiostar CU for some of the major MSO in the US for the CBRS access. We also have the CBRS video bridge that allows the IP camera connected to the Ethernet port of the CBRS bridge. So that is IP camera can become a CBRS enabled camera. So it has the CBRS connectivity to talk to the CBRS small cell. We also have the CBRS dongle that can plug into the laptop or the notebook PC. So that is laptop and notebook PC has the CBRS the connectivity as well. So with those devices and work together with the Ether, this can become a very basic turnkey solution for the enterprise, for the school campus, or for the factory. And the Ether is operational today, and with many of the Sercomm, CBRS, and video adapter and dongle already deployed in some of the ONF signed location. And I'm also glad to know that some of the ONF staff has been also installed Sercomm, the CBRS small cell, and the some of the devices working within their homes so that they can work from home very easily during the pandemic difficult time. With our Sercomm also has the IoT gateway, Internet of Things gateway, so to allow the smart building or smart factory. So with this IoT gateway, the many kinds of the RF sensors like temperature sensor, humidity sensors can be controlled remotely. So even if the low sensors like ZigBee or Z-Wave interface, they can connect to this IoT gateway, and then through the CBRS and to the CBRS small cell and controlled by the those temperature or sensor control software. So this is the turnkey solution with the ONF Edge and all kinds of Sercomm small cell and devices. The system integrator will be very easy to put together a turnkey solution for the private and the neutral host network. This is the last page on my presentation. Sercomm has been in a small cell domain for more than 10 years, and with the product served globally. We also been very proud to be the small cell and the DU supplier for Rakuten by working together with Altiostar virtualized CU. Okay, this is my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ben. Yes, so we're going to now go to the second part of this discussion, which is going to be in the form of a panel. So I'm going to ask the first question. We have representatives here from companies that are headquartered in Asia and have deployed in Asia, and even Altiostar, who's based in the US, its largest deployment in OpenRAN is in Rakuten in Japan. We've seen, by the way, presenting Baicells deployment in China Mobile. It feels like there are some of the most mature OpenRAN deployments are taking place in Asia right now, and in urban environments. And it looks like the other OpenRAN deployments outside of Asia, I'm thinking in Africa, in Latin America, even in the UK, are mostly for rural environments. And it looks like we don't yet quite have urban high density deployments for OpenRAN in North America, for instance, or in Western Europe. Could you all comment on whether this is just because it's a matter of phases and different countries and different regions have different deployment phases, or whether there's something more related to, I don't know, the pace of innovation or the capacity to integrate new technologies in those countries? That's a question for the three of you. So whoever wants to answer first.
So Patrick, maybe I can start. What I would say is, first of all, if you look at the OpenRAN deployments, definitely, as you mentioned, our first deployment from Altiostar perspective, first deployment of Open VRAN that happened in Japan. And in terms of density, I would say that Tokyo is one of the densest cities in the world. It's one of the densest wireless markets in the world. And we have deployed our technology there. And as I have shared during my presentation, right, course of my presentation, the network KPIs in terms of stability and performance, those are, those reflect the performance of the OpenRAN. Secondly, I also want to say that Open VRAN is finding traction in Western Europe, in US itself, and as all of us know that there have been public announcements about the Open VRAN deployment in US as well, from Dish networks. That's a public news. So what I would say, it's just a matter of time. There are operators who are making announcements, who are taking decisions and moving forward with deployments. Telefonica is another operator who is talking about Open VRAN deployments.
The skepticals might say, Rakuten and Dish are greenfield networks, and no matter the density, if you go into greenfield network and you have a new spectrum to deploy, it's going to be a less messy environment than a brownfield network where you have basically possible interferences from other vendors in the field. Is that a contributing factor?
No, not at all. I mean, as I'm saying, Telefonica is a good example of brownfield deployment. There is also announcement by Airtel in India. Airtel is one of the largest operators in the world, and they are a brownfield operator, and they are working with us for 4G macros as well as small cells, and then going forward 5G. In fact, we are working together with Sercomm, so Ben can also talk about that. So that's, again, another example. As I'm saying, it's just a matter of time. There are many operators that I can't talk about, and they are having plans to do OpenRAN deployments.
Okay, so by way, Ben, do you feel also that OpenRAN is kind of a technology that's going to become universal? Is it applicable to every market in every country for any use case in the future?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. I think from our end, we definitely agree with Anil. So we think that the OpenRAN is definitely in progress, and it's gonna be universal, because once there's an operator who gets the real benefit out of the OpenRAN, then everybody gonna follow. I think nowadays it is already there that basically we're receiving like our PR5s from Europe, from Middle East, from North Africa, and from America. I think that's basically everybody in this industry is getting interested. That's no doubt. For the progress, from the progress point of view, we see that OpenRAN to get widely adopted, there's a time window as well. So we see that the importance is again, we need to enable the local resource, the integrators to be able to handle this OpenRAN instead of letting like either Baicells or other players that to do this, because we are not the incumbent vendor. We don't have people in every single country. So the bandwidth of the OpenRAN supplier would also like very much decided the progress for the OpenRAN. So therefore, Baicells' opinion is firstly, by adopting the OpenRAN, we should be completely open. So we're gonna open all of our hardware platform to the ecosystem player. That's one thing. The other thing is that we're gonna try to make it simple and easy to deploy. So maybe we have another chance later to introduce the simplicity of the OpenRAN that we deployed with China Mobile. So with that simplicity, so basically we lower down the entry level for deploying the OpenRAN and enable the local system integrator to support the mobile carrier to deploy. That really can speed up the progress. That's our opinion.
Okay, thanks, by the way. Ben, do you have any thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, I think the OpenRAN may start with some MVNO, mobile virtualized network operators, like the Rakuten used to be MVNO in Japan, but after it got the license, that is the ORAN architecture or virtualization is the perfect match for those MVNO to upgrade to the MNO. So I also sense that some of the MSO in the US who are the MVNO of Verizon, and because of the CBRS spectrum, they can upgrade to from MVNO to a kind of a MNO by leveraging the CBRS spectrum and try to offload the traffic in indoor to avoid paying a high tariff to the MNOs. For the ILEC, like a very already established the network mobile operators, I think the enterprise may also one of their starting point. Like in my country, in Taiwan, the Chonghua Telecom is the biggest network operators in Taiwan. They want to go to try the this ONF by the enterprise because of the they already got a very well established network by using the Ericsson and the Nokia. Make no sense for them to try ONF. So what I want to see is to start from the 5G and also start from the enterprise vertical segment. They will want to start from there. So anyway, the ORAN is already not just starting; it's already started from the MVNO upgrade to MNO, and from 5G enterprise segment. All a very good starting point.
I see. Thank you. It's an interesting idea to look at OpenRAN as a catalyst or an accelerator for MVNOs to actually be able to launch their own network under the CBRS provisions. It kind of lower the bars really for companies, enterprise and MVNOs to be able to launch their own network and manage it going forward. I'd like to ask each of you, I mean, you all spoke about the benefits of OpenRAN at a high level and what you're going to enable with your company. I think we've heard there are expectations from operators, from carriers, that OpenRAN is going to bring two things specifically. A lower cost of ownership and more innovation. So I'd like to ask each of you what your thoughts are on those two subjects. Does OpenRAN bring a lower cost of ownership, and what kind of ratio, what kind of saving an operator could expect by deploying OpenRAN? And the second part of the question, does OpenRAN bring more innovation beyond having more vendors? What type of innovation can we expect? Anil, maybe you can start.
Yeah, I mean, so Patrick, there are multiple benefits. I mean, it will require a much longer discussion, but in summary, what I can say is that we can divide benefits in terms of, first of all, CapEx and OpEx, purely from TCO perspective. And on the CapEx side, right, the very fact that once you have disaggregated the software from hardware and created open interfaces, so with the disaggregation itself, now operators can buy white label hardware radios, for example, directly from the suppliers. Yeah. So this opening of the supply chain itself brings tremendous benefits in terms of, price reduction for the hardware, for radio hardware. And then that is also linked to innovation, in fact, because now smaller niche players, they can start participating in the market and bring innovative bespoke solutions for the operators. On the compute side itself, as you know, for example, you look at any compute, Moore's law applies there, and the prices, hardware prices, reduce automatically year on year, which is not the case with the proprietary RAN hardware. Because there, operators have to go and negotiate with the RAN vendors. There is also benefit that you don't have to change the hardware frequently. Typically you will see 3 to 4 years hardware, baseband hardware has to undergo change. So that's on the CapEx side.
So if I'm an operator, like if I look at all those benefits, and I understand it will vary from one operator, from one region to another, but what kind of percentage saving can I expect in CapEx from ORAN?
So we have a very detailed, we have done TCO analysis, Patrick, and we have calibrated it with multiple operators. And typically we have seen that CapEx benefits are of the order of 40 to 45%.
40 to 45%. Thanks. Thanks for answering directly. And on the OpEx front?
So on the OpEx side, you have, again, very, different kind of benefits. One of the things that happens with virtualization is that now you have your TUs, CUs deployed as virtual network functions, and along with that, you bring in automation. So you can implement, and not can, I mean, we have implemented various self-X kind of use cases, so auto commissioning, self-healing, and all these, again, things, they will lead to a reduction in the OpEx for the operators.
I would expect also that control plane, user plane separation could contribute to that as well.
That's a, so CUPS architecture definitely will lead to different kind of architectural benefits. We do support CUPS architecture, but I'm saying just virtualization itself. With the automation, you can, achieve OpEx reductions. And also the fact that now we deploy the DUs in edge cloud, you don't have DUs at site. Operators support optical transport, and with that, overall network reliability goes up, because now you, in case of any DU failure, you don't have to send anybody to the site, and the DU is recovered automatically within a few minutes, because you have the DU deployed in cloud. So all this results in again, based on our analysis, you get 30 to 40% savings even on the OpEx.
Okay, so overall, about between 30 and 40% savings overall, CapEx and OpEx is what we could expect.
Individually, I'm saying on the overall TCO, you have significant savings. And then on top of that, you talked about innovation. So innovation, one of the points that I would like to highlight, one, I talked about the fact that niche players can now participate. Secondly, with disaggregation, with the software being disaggregated from hardware, features are now completely realizable in the software, right? So any new features that operators require, those can be realized without having to touch the hardware. That's very important
Yeah.
point, right? You don't run into hardware compute constraints, right?
Yeah.
Also, because now you have virtualized the functions, now you are able to realize any kind of, let's say, slicing use cases very easily, Patrick, right? Because now you can have use case specific DUCUs.
Understood. Understood. So you can tailor your solution for your use case and therefore make it more efficient. And if you automate it because it's virtualized, then there is certainly cost reduction in cost in deployment, in operation, and in maintenance over time.
Absolutely. So briefly, this is what I would like to talk about. I mean, I can talk more, but I would let.
No, we can certainly have another hour to discuss it. By the way, same question. What kind of orders of savings do you see in terms of deployment of OpenRAN, and what type of innovation do you see or do you expect from the massive deployment of OpenRAN?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Anil. I think I basically agree mostly with Anil about what he just presented. I think that's definitely the key factors to reduce the CapEx and OpEx from the OpenRAN. Besides that, maybe I could add a few things from Baicells' perspective. So first of all, we think that by doing the OpenRAN, again, we need to adopt the spirit. That means OpenRAN is about to decouple the vendor log. Is kind of a stimulate innovation. Then what we definitely need to avoid is just to copy what traditional vendors providing and just decouple things. That's definitely gonna not reduce the total cost of ownership, because anything, if they are just looking exactly the same, and the first one is fully integrated, then we just decouple things, that's not gonna bring the cost down. So make one example, like for example, there's like 64 by 64 MIMO AAU, which is widely deployed recently for 5G. That's gonna increase a lot of burden for the operator for their CapEx, and also clearly for the OpEx in terms of the power consumption. That's something that we really seeing in the real commercial market. So that first of all, we think that when opening things up, we would use this opportunity, use this chance to create something that is really needed for the mobile carriers. For example, Baicells, we developed I guess probably the world first 8x8 AAU, which is just a 5 kilogram light. So it's a very short, very compact. It's very easy to mount it on the pole or on the in the city center for the 4G and the 5G compatible. So that's again an OpenRAN type of solution, but it's much lighter and more suitable for the operator. And again, because we are doing OpenRAN, we're having the virtualized BBU. So basically, by deploying maybe 3-4 of those, you could still conduct the comp technologies. Basically, we achieve a similar effect like massive MIMO. Because if you look at the metrics, they are exactly the same from the math point of view. So that type of innovation, we really think can bring the real benefit to the operator. So again, we believe that innovation and TCO, they are not two topics. They are actually one topic. By innovative ideas, we bring the TCO down. That's our opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, understood. Thanks a lot. By the way, Ben.
So, in addition to what Anil and Baiwei has been elaborated, I would also like to talk about. I think the main benefit is to for the ORAN OPEX and the CAPEX is the upgrading from the 4G network to the 5G network. Actually, it is the most significant saving that I have been seeing. For example, take Rakuten as the example. We start from providing the DU small cells, which is the 4G, and the Rakuten start to have the commercial service for the 4G in April this year. But then in October this year, it will have the 5G service, and from my understanding, all of the server are the same. The Rakuten just upgrades the 4G EPC. It is a software. They upgrade the 4G EPC software to the 5G EPC software, and replace the 4G DU hardware to the 5G DU hardware, and it can provide the 5G service in 6 months, which is the very from the from the normal network operator viewpoint, it is almost impossible to achieve in just 6 months. But then Rakuten did it, and all of the hardware server are there. It just
Agreed.
Replace the software, so that's very significant.
Agreed. What do you all say to? I mean, presumably you all the time in RFPs and competition with traditional vendors, and presumably the traditional vendors are all saying, look, OpenRAN is not fully baked yet. There's still a lot of work to be done. Most vendors do not support the latest 3GPP releases. The performance, they work well in some environments, but not in all environments. And they don't have all the features that we have. If you trust us as traditional vendors, I mean, we'll get there. And if it's just a matter of cost, 40% over 3, 4, 5 years, you can certainly put enough pressure to get to a level that is acceptable. So knowing network operators like I know them, I think a lot of them, when they're gauging risk versus innovation, they're fairly conservative, generally speaking, right? So why do you think operators now are more looking at solutions like OpenRAN than in the past?
So maybe Patrick, I can go first. So I think there is a real compulsion, right, which I talked about at the beginning. So one thing that I talked about is that with 5G, there is need to support different kind of use cases or applications. And with the virtualization, it is possible to realize those benefits. If you don't virtualize your network, it is going to be that much difficult to flexibly realize those use cases.
Yeah, but virtualized RAN is different from OpenRAN, right? I mean, most traditional vendors will have most traditional vendors will have a virtualized RAN offering, right? Just not open. It's fully virtualized. It will be Cloud RAN. They'll just want open interface to other vendors.
Right. So, one thing, as I talked about virtualization, the other is the disaggregation part, right? The openness part that you're talking about. That, as I said, is again important in terms of managing the CapEx, right? As well as the OpEx, because disaggregation and openness, Patrick, in my view, is not just limited to front haul, although front haul is spoken about mostly when we talk about the open networks. But there's another level of disaggregation that is happening on the higher layers, right? With near real-time brick, non-real-time brick. And
yeah,
that disaggregation, again, is going to bring the capacity and capability to realize different kind of algorithms. So operators can control their own destiny.
And on that topic, I mean, I guess when I looked at the 5G battle, I mean, most traditional vendors kind of locked in the 5G deployment with an SA core, right? Do you feel collectively that you have to accelerate or help the ecosystem of the core network so that you could have, just like you have OpenRAN, you could have open core? Isn't that a limiting factor today for you, vendors of OpenRAN, to get into the network, because the core for 5G are mostly NSA?
So from Altiostar perspective, I would say we don't see that challenge. And operators, as far as we are concerned, it is our customers who bring the core network vendor on the table. And for that matter, even radios brought in by them. And we integrate with them. So we I mean, you know, we don't see this challenge. Let me put it like this.
No, I know that you integrate with them. I know that you integrate with them. The question is whether rather they will integrate with you, in the sense absolutely. That the traditional core vendor happen in many cases to be the traditional radio vendors as well, right? So I'm just asking whether that's a barrier to growth.
Absolutely not. As I'm saying that all the core network vendors that are there in market today, we have worked with them, both for EPC and now going forward for 5GC. So at least I don't see this challenge, but maybe other panelists can.
But by the way, Ben, can you testify to the same? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Anil. So from our understanding, I think the reason why operator is getting more and more like interest for this OpenRAN is definitely two things. The first thing is again TCO, right? So if the OpenRAN gonna eventually bring the TCO up, then that probably we could do one case, but we cannot duplicate that. That's for sure. I'm not gonna expand that topic too much. The second thing is more about I think it's about the trend. It's about just the fact. If we look at back like 20, 30 years ago, so basically the mobile operators, they're providing the network as well as the content. So basically when people make calls or send SMS, so all the content are created and running inside the mobile operator's network. That's how this closed RAN and this type of carrier grade KPI was generated at that time. And when we are moving to the 4G time and now 5G era, so basically if you look at the fact, all the content, or let's say 99% of the content are actually outside the mobile network. Then the network is already open, I think, so from that aspect. Then when the operator wanted to be more like a content driven or service driven or want to gain more revenue, then we have to be opening ourselves to the industry to gain that benefit. Then, for example, especially for the 5G, I think it is already almost a common sense in the industry that 5G is not only 2C, it's gonna 2B, right? It's gonna to enterprise, to industry. Then OpenRAN will also bring the benefit of doing that because when you have some industry level 5G applications, then people will always concerned about the privacy. Regardless, how nice we describe the network slicing, they will still want to have the UPF done at their like factory or like at the hospital to maintain their data like as private as possible. So that's another essence that we see the OpenRAN, because OpenRAN is not only about technology. We believe that OpenRAN is about the time, the era that right now the operator is already effectively open their network to the internet content, to those, for example, Netflix, like to Facebook, to all the internet companies. And then if our equipment, the network is still closed, then operator will have no choice but become only a pipe. But to change that, I think there's a very strong motivation to open the network, to have more control of what you have in your network from the operator point of view. By doing that, operator are gonna have a stronger like position or like a better position to work with the industry to enable or to stimulate more revenue from the operator point of view. I think that's another aspect that we wanted to address besides the TCO itself.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Having more control over what you deploy and how you deploy it and how it runs in your network certainly provides better capacity down the line to differentiate and to provide tailored solution for their clients. Thanks. I will ask a last question, and I will ask each of you just to answer in a few words, if possible. We're running late as it is. the last question is this. So in your mind, what's missing today to make OpenRAN even more of a success, or to accelerate the adoption and the deployment of OpenRAN in various markets? And Beiwei, you can start, then we'll go with Ben, and we'll finish with Anil.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. I think from Baicells' point of view, our idea is we are missing two major points. First of all, we already have the very nice, very good company like Altiostar providing a very good software. I think that's already available here. But nowadays, one thing is again about the hardware. Right now, the hardware is very much limited. So if we look at the OpenRAN proponent companies, so basically people are even paying NRE to let hardware industry to build the hardware for the OpenRAN. I think that's definitely the pain that we're suffering during the past 3-4 years for this OpenRAN. So by solving that problem, so Baicells right now we're thinking to open the 100% of Baicells hardware portfolio to the OpenRAN industry, to anybody that who is willing to cooperate. And then basically, because we have the base station from the 40 watts all the way until the 250 milliwatts outdoor indoor.
Okay.
That one we believe that can satisfy the operator's demand. Secondly, is about the integration. We think that OpenRAN has to be simple. We need to enable the operator or like their service company or like their system integration company to be able to handle the network instead of Baicells going there or Altiostar going there or Sercomm going there to support the company. In that sense, the scalability of Baicells as a company gonna become the bottleneck of the OpenRAN. So that part, we think integration and the simplicity of the OpenRAN deployment would be the second key factor for the OpenRAN to become more successful. Yeah, that's our 2 cents.
Thanks, Baiwei. Ben?
Yeah, I think the system integration is the key to the success of the ORAN. Take the Rakuten as an example. When we are integrating our DU with the Altiostar CU, it takes quite amount of effort. So during the time, like Rakuten CTO, Altiostar CTO, and me actually have a daily call to avoid the finger pointing, because ORAN is still in the early stage. So it is still not quite standardized yet. So initially, system integration will be the key to the success of the project. In the near future, I think they should have some kind of the plug fest, so that to put all of the vendors together to try to solve the interface and the interoperability.
Very good, very good. Okay, thanks a lot, Ben. And Anil?
So Patrick, what I would say is I will second what Ben talked about. So system integration is definitely something that needs to be addressed. What we want to make sure is that for operators, it remains a project implementation integration, not product integration exercise. And for that, in order to address that particular issue, what we do in Altiostar is that we work with the vendors who are selected by the operators, and then we do end-to-end integration, and then we certify that yes, the solution works as expected, so that operators have the peace of mind. So that's one thing. And secondly, on the hardware side, also I kind of agree with Baiwei. One of the things that definitely is required to make OpenRAN successful would be proliferation of especially radio ecosystem. And again, there we work very closely in order to reduce this pain point. We work very closely with different radio partners. We encourage them to develop radios in the bands that are expected by the operators. So we do that, and then we execute interoperability testing with various radio partners.
I see. Well, thanks a lot, Anil. Thanks a lot, Anil, Baiwei, and Ben. We're going to conclude our segment here. If I wanted to try to summarize a little bit what we've learned tonight, I think that all the participants here believe that OpenRAN is a technology that is reaching a tipping point in terms of maturity and in terms of traction. It brings a number of benefits for operators, ranging from savings that are inherent to its design, basically due to the fact that the technology allows the disaggregation of the network, therefore the introduction of new vendors on one end, and on the other hand, the separation of hardware and software and the virtualization of the software, which allow a high level of automation, as well as deployment scenarios that do not have to be one size fits all. You can actually have scenarios deployment per use case, per geography, which allows you basically to right size your deployment based on your actual use case or your actual topology. Right now, the pain point that we're hearing the most here in this panel, but it was also mirrored in the previous panel, is basically the necessity for a larger ecosystem in terms of hardware vendor, as well as system integrators to emerge and be able to take the various parts and the various vendors in this ecosystem and to provide end-to-end certified blueprint and solutions that are what operators are used to buying right now. So, I would like to thank all the panelists, as well as the Open Networking Foundation for organizing this panel, and I hope that we will get to meet again soon, maybe in person, to another conference where we will be able to exchange those ideas live. Anyways, it's been great to have you all here. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, NF.